Hey there guys, this is me, Malorian, and it's time for my series of battle reports from the Steamroller I went to this last weekend. You know, I haven't made these for a while and I promised I would, so here's a good set. And this is a good time for it because this is really where I was trying to come back and be more competitive. If you want to know more about why and the lists I'm taking, please go back and look at my intro video. But we are right into it with game number 1. And wouldn't you know it, my first round opponent is Chris Dancox of WTC now fame, Handsome Chris. And this is not what I wanted to see. I mean, my Sloan list is designed to fight Grimkin, so that's great. Chris is arguably the toughest opponent that I'm going to be possibly facing here today, so not a first round pull that you want to see there. And as well, the real issue with this matchup is threefold. There's the fact that I'm facing a really strong player, but it's also the fact that I'm facing Dreamer with a gun line on Mirage, and so all the little phantasms and the gremlin swarms and all these flags, that's not really good for me. And also there's this massive forest here in the middle of the board, and that's a real problem. I mean, I was teasing the TO about it, but really some tables should be like this. You know, there's big line of sight blockers. It's just for this matchup here, it is awful because basically he can go behind it when he wants to, put on Lurker Animus, trample through and do massively bad things to me. If I want to, I could shift all my lines to the left and then try and take away the line of sight of the forest. But yeah, the thing is that then I kind of open up all the flags to him and he can really score very quickly. So I'm thinking going into this, I'm in a lot of trouble. But hey, I'm going to do my best. I'm going to do my Sloan thing, shoot some things down, and maybe I'll pull it off. So because I get +2 to go first between the theme and Anastasia, I get to go first. I go up, I cloud, just more out of, you know, trying to make sure I keep it in my mind as opposed to anything else, and trying to get up the board there. So on his turn, you can see he's really kind of pushing up on the left. This light that we're having coming in from the store here is not really making for the best of pictures, but that piece of terrain on the far left, that's actually going to be like a big rock there, an obstruction. So he has a lot of things that are trying to hide behind it for now because my objective is giving magical attacks, and I'd love to shoot down all these gremlin swarms. Otherwise, he was being really smart, trying to keep other gremlin swarms away. The one that's hiding behind the objective, I can get to pretty easily. I just need to move Sloan to the side and pull that off. Again, maybe that's what he was trying to do, with trying to keep Sloan away from the left. I'm not really sure why that gremlin swarm was there. Maybe to make me go too far up and get myself in danger. I don't know. But the main thing, as you can see there, is he's already positioning himself behind that forest. He has Mirage on that lead Skin and Moans. And what that means is that on his turn, it's not just even a trample thing. He's going to go and Mirage placement himself into the forest and then see me put up that Animus and charge me. So this is just really, really, really dangerous. So what I want to do is try and kill what I can. I'm going to kill off that gremlin swarm, and then there's that one gorehound on the far left. I might be able to get it, so I might as well try. So that's what I do. On the left side, I just give it a shot with their express team, get the crit knockdown, and as soon as that happened, that gorehound was done. So that's awesome. It's gone. Otherwise, on the right side, I'm kind of setting myself around this flag, shoot down the one gremlin swarm, and all I can do is really wait. Now, on his turn, I know he's going to go for his flag. I know that even if I put something up there to contest it, he was going to get that center flag, and he's also going to get his own zone. He also measured things out so he can get to my objective. So he's going to score a lot of points here. And again, this is just the situation. I have to kind of accept it and then see if I can fight my way back. So again, shadows from the light. So this is getting nice and interesting. But pretty much his miraging Skin and Moans goes into the forest and actually decides to go after my objective. So he destroys that. He has a gremlin swarm on his flag in the back. From destroying my objective, he made a little mouse phantasm and then went after the flag in the center, and then otherwise decided to kind of stand in his own zone while his gremlin swarm on the right runs up to contest my flag. So after all this, on bottom of 2, he is up now 4 points to nothing. And so this is really, really, really bad. So what I need to do now is pop my feet and then hopefully do so much damage and try and score some counterpoints that I can slowly start to bring this back. Now, really, I don't think I have the time to deal with the heavies on the right. I really need to deal with this Clockatrice, and the Skin and Moans are in my zone, and I really could go and feed on them and pretty much just take them out. But there's also a good chance if I go for the Battle Engine first, because then he'll be -2 armor on the others, maybe I can get them as well. So that's what I'm going to try. I'm going to feed. I'm going to try taking out the Battle Engine first, then the Skin and Moans, then the Clockatrice, and if I can do all that and then, you know, score my flag and some other things like that, that could maybe set me up for a really good spot. Unfortunately, it doesn't completely go the way I want. Sloan goes, she pops feet, she takes care of the Gremlin Swarm on the right. Second shot was going into the Gremlin Swarm that was in my zone. He shield guards that, so that pretty much means I won't be scoring my own zone because I have no other magical shots to go after it. I am able to destroy the Battle Engine, but it takes quite a bit of work. I'm able to get rid of the, what is that thing? The Skin and Moans that was in my zone, and the Clockatrice really, really hurt. I pushed it out of the zone with the Express team, but again, because of how there's still that Gremlin Swarm, I couldn't score it. So I score my flag, I can test his zone. Anastasia comes on from the left, can test that flag. So everything's contesting. So now it's 4-1. But again, that's really all I could do. I kind of thought maybe I could use more shots to go after and destroy his objective. But in this point here, I just didn't feel I could really waste any more shots on that. Hey, here's finally a better picture now that the sun's starting to get a little bit more manageable. But really, it's pretty easy. The Clockatrice is off on the left. You can't really see it, but it is able to spray down Anastasia, so that means he gets that one there. Gremlin Swarm runs up to contest my flag, and then otherwise he just has to clear his zone and scores extra 2, and that's it. He takes the win. So starting this tournament off with a loss, not exactly what I wanted, but hey, you know, I'm up against a extremely good player in a scenario that probably wasn't an advantage to me, in a terrain set that wasn't an advantage to me. So, you know, with all those factors involved, you know, I'm not feeling bad about losing this one. It's just kind of the way things go. You go into these things with a list that's really saying, I'm all in on shooting, it's just not going to work. Now, my other list here, the Haley3 list, we talked about that one with all the Ironclads after with Chris, and after talking it through, it just really wouldn't have worked. I mean, that's what I was kind of worried about, is for those who have not played against these Clockatrices, between their Animus and the Arcana that really goes and makes your speed go down as well, they just kind of take out all of your alpha, lock you down, and then hit you really hard after you try desperately to try the Clockatrices. It just doesn't happen. So I've played a matchup like that before, was pretty sure it was not going to work. As we talked about it, you know, this was my best drop. It was just, again, between the scenario and the terrain, it was going to be a very tough matchup. And, you know, these are all kind of excuses. Even if I would have had the best scenario and the best terrain, it still would have been a very tough game. So there you have it. Starting the game with a loss, but what can you do? So I then go into the second round, which is my buddy Mark. And he's another good player, but this is a matchup that I have planned for. Now, in this one here, he is very good with this Primal Terrors list. He's doing it with Callus 1. But my plan for taking this on is kind of twofold. One, this is my Haley3 list I was just talking about, and I'm just going to try and slowly grind down all of those chosen. Now, this is also a perfect scenario for me, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw one Echo on the left side and one Echo on the right, lock down those zones, and turn this game into a slow grind. I do know that one of the few weaknesses that Mark has is his clock management, and so I'm really thinking this will end up as being a clock victory. However, with that building there, you know, you never know when either Baby Haley will charge through, or maybe Ghost Walk will allow a heavy just to go through the building and get onto Callus. But yeah, this is definitely a matchup I'm feeling really, really good about. So again, because of my +1, I get to go first. Tactical Supremacy is up onto the trenchers. They just go up and dig in just to stay safe. Otherwise, things are kind of moving up to be safe from the Hellmouths, and I pass over the turn. On his turn, he throws over a shot just to see where it goes. Doesn't do it. All the things kind of shift up here, and that's really it. But you can already see there that for the clock, I'm starting to get up. So I'm feeling good. Already got like close to a 10-minute advantage here. So that's exactly what I need to do. So now I need to really get my footprint out there. I need to kill off that tentacle, get my echoes out to those 2 locations, and I mean, even though I'm going to be putting myself out there, I also don't want to be in a spot where I'll be losing all my heavies. So just careful positioning for some grinding next turn. So that's what I'm able to do, although when I think about it, I don't actually even need to kill that tentacle on the right, because he is going to come into my zone no matter what. Clearing up my zone right now doesn't really do anything. So I go up there, I make my clouds, I pull back, my 2 echoes get to where they need to be. I don't really feel too great about my ironclads on the right, but I do feel good about Finn. You know, if he comes into me with all these birds, which he likes to do, Finn will just charge in there and kill, and kind of like just take them all away. So with this, I'm in a great defensive position, and we'll see what he does. And what he does is completely wreck all my plans. Now, this really comes down to me not knowing my opponent's list well enough. I always really push that you have to play the game with full knowledge of what your opponent can do, and wouldn't you know it, that one little solo that holds that rock thing takes away all incorporeal within 10 inches. So all of a sudden my Haley, the future and past that I thought were going to be super safe unless Callus gets out there, now anyone can kill. And because Callus also has Dark Guidance, my defense 18 isn't really all that big. He's able to get into there and kill off baby Haley. So this does 2 things to me. One, it means he's able to score his own zone and on the right, which means like, well, the scenario is now being pushed faster than I really had planned for. And second of all, my entire game plan is just not going to work. So I already know that what I plan to do going into here is really bad. However, the one thing I do have to hold on to, as you can see, this clock time took a lot. So as far as that goes great. I can maybe get in there and grind this out. He did forget the feat. He actually really did mean the feat this turn, but he forgot. So that's great. I can get into there. I can kill off these whatever the bird things are. They're in my face. And again, we'll just set up this line and we'll start up the grind. So that's what I started doing. I get in there, but right away I start having some misplays in this game. And again, maybe I was on a little bit of a tilt because again, learning that my entire game plan was now not going to work, I was like, what am I going to do? And my first misplay is that when I charged in there with Finn, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to kill off this entire unit of birds. As I started moving around, I got sloppy with my movement. I got within 2 inches of one of his chosen, and now if I want to keep on going on my killing spree, I have to take a free strike. So I was like, you know what, whatever, I'll just stop my killing spree, move up. On the left side there, I kind of killed what was in my zone, killed off the rest of the birds here, and then because I needed something to really kind of start slowing down his scenario, I put future Haley into his zone because, hey, I gotta slow him down anyway. I throw a couple of heavies in the right zone, so he shouldn't be able to get into there, and I feel pretty good as I pass the turn. And then I realized that by moving over Haley, future Haley, to his zone, it's now out of the zone on the left. So I have nothing contesting the left zone, and he scores another point on my turn. So it's now going to be going 3-1, and that was just stupid. That was such a stupid play. I couldn't believe I did it. Just really feeling dumb. So on his turn, he's able to do all the good stuff he needs to. He's able to kill off Haley on his side with Callus. He's starting to come in and grind into me. And, I mean, at this point here, I'm feeling good because his clock is low, but now he's just too far up on scenario that I really can't see how I can fix this. If I would have left future Haley back behind the building where she was, just cast ghost walk onto that unit there, walk a random trencher into the zone, I'd be in a much better spot right now. But now it's 4-1 and I'm just in a lot of trouble. And so really what I had to do looking at this is that even though he was now down to under 20 minutes and the clock game was probably good, I'm just not going to make it there. That's just not something that's realistic. So what I decided to do is, you know what, let's just go for tie breaks. I'm going to try and get the one thing that I can, which is score my zone, and then I'm just going to accept that I lose. So that's what I do. I clear out my zone, I score my point, and then because, hey, it's my buddy and I have no reason to drag him down too, I also make it so that he scores as much as possible. So I score my zone, I kill box myself, I let him score the left zone, his zone, the right zone again, and then why not, he wins on scenario. It's just one of those ones where I was done with this game. I just couldn't believe it, went into it, had a serious plan, thought this game would be locked down, and then all of a sudden it just all fell apart. You know, just that one little rock guy taking away Incorporeal not only meant that he was able to stop me from contesting the scenario like I meant to, but it also meant that my whole plans of being able to charge through with baby Haley or something like that just wasn't going to happen. So really disappointed with myself here. I don't know how well the Sloan list would have actually played into this. This is just something where in my list construction, I had planned this matchup already and had completely dropped the ball. So far, we have a loss that, okay, I can't blame myself because great player, blah, blah, blah. Mark is also a great player, but this one I just have to really blame myself in terms of screwed up on the knowledge portion of knowing that he could take away my Incorporeal and then getting on tilt and not contesting that zone, because I think even then this game could have been winnable on clock, but not when I started hemorrhaging all those control points. So yeah, at this point I'm 0-2 and I am bound and determined to end this tournament 2-2. So yeah, there a little fast picture there just of this stupid solo that wrecked all my plans. I hate it. Alright, we're on to round 3 now, and I'm up against Kale and his Crucible Guard. He is running Gearheart, and I am ready to shoot this guy down. Now, this is already after I went first. Again, with getting +2 to go first, it's pretty close to guaranteed. I don't know what the odds are, if it's like 95%, but it's pretty dang good. So at this one here, I'm going to go up there and I'm just going to shoot this stuff down. My biggest worry is that those rocket men might make it a run for the building, and if I can't kill them off, they'll be able to run in and do a lot of trouble. But otherwise, I think I should just be able to stall. I could always shift away, beat down the Colossal, shoot down a lot of the other troops. And the biggest thing is because of those clouds, I can really make it so that a lot of his shooting that he has here can't really take any effect. Now, I know Gearheart, big assassination threat, and he can really enable a lot of his force, so I'll have to play very smart here with Sloan. But yeah, I'm in here to try and just shoot things down. So on his turn, he's like, okay, I know you're going to shoot down my Colossal, let's just get out of the way. He moves up there, takes some shots, is able to kill off a couple of trenchers there in the cloud, so, you know, that wasn't too bad. But the other big thing he did was just move up Gearheart. Now, the reason why he did that is that he thought, like, I'm going to shoot down the Colossal, and in return, he wants to really push for the assassination. But one of the things he didn't really think of until after is like, oh yeah, what if you just kill my caster? So he did throw a couple of the rocket men in front, but really it's just not going to be enough. So on my turn, pretty straightforward. Sloan goes up, beats, shoot down the rocket men in the way, and then pew 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 pew, down he goes. So that's it. Top of 2 assassination, kind of what this list really wants to do. Get +2 to go first, run up, and then get her done. So at least it's doing it now. I would have been feeling a lot better if this was like game 1 or something. But, you know, at least it gave me and Kale some time to chat. He had come down all the way from Dawson, which is like a 5-hour drive or something. So I kind of felt bad because you don't want somebody to come so far and then have such a quick game. But he didn't really care. He was a great guy. You know, he just went and checked out his buddy's games and stuff like that. So okay, I'm now 1-2, and I really want to win this next game so I can at least break even. So with this one then, I have another person I normally see for weekly gaming, my buddy Andrew, and he is doing Goreshade 4 with Retribution. Now again, looking at this one, I really felt that Sloan was the right drop. Just really get it here and shoot down all the things. So, you know, again with this, I get +2 to go first. If whatever reason he gives me a shot at assassination, I will. But otherwise, I can really spend this shooting down the infantry or the battle engine or whatever. And the other great thing is I think Finn will be amazing here. I'm going to use that force now to my advantage. I actually am the one with Pathfinder, so I can really get up to it and threaten and hopefully do some nasty things with him, because it's been a while since I've had a really good Finn run. So on my first turn, I go up to where I'm pretty safe. I dig in just in case with all the things. And actually, Finn is kind of like just sticking his nose into that forest there, saying, come on, I dare you. Come up here and I'll eat you all up. And so that does two things. One, it makes him play a little bit more cautiously. And second of all, it makes sure that he can't just bunch up behind that other forest there. Because the last thing I want is something like in the first game where he has that forest where he can kind of like set up and stage behind and then rush through. But otherwise, you know, I'm thinking with this positioning, I can really threaten assassination. So we'll see what he gives me. Now, when he starts moving up here, and of course he takes off the top of the battle engine because it starts getting in the way and bumping things, I think it's going to be a really easy assassination because some of the infantry didn't really run up as far as it could have. He has his caster out there, puts up some clouds that don't really do too much. You know, of course I have true sight. The big thing though is that even though I see through them with my battle group, I don't ignore the +2 defense, and also my express teams don't see through them. So it's not the worst thing that he put them up, but the best thing for me is that means it's less focus on him. So he's only camping 1 as opposed to the 5 he could have been camping. But then the thing that made it really tough is that his last 2 activations, he ran his one Cav model and the Jack to be blocking line of sight. So that makes things a little bit more tricky. And so what I believe I can do though is that with my feet, shoot down the battle engine. That's the first thing. And then my express team should be able to move over and then either push or knock down one or both of the models in the way, and maybe I could get greedy and try and actually just go for Goreshade 4 to knock him down. But I think again that's just greedy, and I really just need them to try and clear that line of sight. And as long as I do that, I should have enough hunters left to finish the job. And I actually didn't take another picture because, well, after that was cleanup time and I kind of forgot, but it kind of just went exactly the way I just said. Sloan moved up, she feeded. Between her and the hunters, I was able to shoot down the battle engine. I then first shot at the Dragoon, got the crit, knocked it down, was already feeling really good. For the second one, decided to play it safe, knocked down the Jack, and then really all the other shots started going into Goreshade 4, and yeah, it was just way too much, and he went down. So there you have it. I finished the tournament 2-2. I am going to have kind of a final thoughts video that comes after this. You know, definitely this is a game where I felt like, okay, I'm going to go up there and have really strong assassination. I can go for it, and it worked out. But I mean, in terms of the overall tournament, I did feel a little bit disappointed because I went 2-2 and I was hoping to go at least 3-1. But I'll talk about that in my final thoughts. If you have any thoughts on this game, any of the other games, or any of my lists, please post it down below. And otherwise, we'll catch you later. Bye.